If you're an emerging franchise founder, you already know this. The jump from 10 to 100 units is where most brands stall out. Not because the concept isn't strong, but because the founder is drowning in chaos. I'm Coffey, franchisor, franchisee, and growth strategist. I've been where you are, and I know what it takes to build a brand that scales without burning out, selling out, or losing control. That's why I created the Franchise Scale-Up Show. Every week, I'll share the playbooks, the red flags, and the mindset shifts to separate the brands that stall from the ones that scale. So if you're serious about protecting your vision and multiplying your brand, hit subscribe right now. This is the Franchise Scale-Up Show. I'm Coffey. Let's get to work. Well, welcome to this next episode of the Franchise Scale-Up Show with me, Coffey. Today's guest is super interesting, great background in tech and art and film, and has a company that just happens to be also in the franchise industry that may be of benefit to people listening. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mark Michael of DevHub.
It never gets old when people reflect on your, again, whatever they consider success, accomplishment, persona. And so, yes, thank you for having me on your platform.
Well, it's a pleasure. So let's just get right into DevHub. I definitely want to touch base on you, but in terms of DevHub started back in 2007. So it's been around a long time. You've grown through capitalizing it, multiple rounds of venture capital, private equity, right? And it continues to get better and better. But if you could just encapsulate what DevHub does for the franchising industry, that would be fantastic.
Come this September, it'll be our 19th year. And for the first, call it 16 years of DevHub, if you ever bought websites from an agency, from a marketing technology platform, that was us. About 3 years ago, after through COVID and what we saw a lot of these agencies and marketing technology companies be delivering via our tech, we were like, the website is the most important thing, and the brand should not be sacrificing that and what an agency is doing for them, but being the hub of what everything that an agency or marketing technology plugs into. And so until they control their website, we say that they don't control their digital marketing. So you can actually hold the vendors accountable, and they don't also hold your website hostage. And
All right. Would you say that's the biggest pivot that DevHub's had?
Going brand direct, because again, all we knew was licensing our software to, middlemen essentially. And we were white labeled, so no one even heard of the brand DevHub. And so that's why it's been so fun to do these kind of podcasts. It's like, I always tell people I always felt like a glorified drug dealer for the first 16 years, because they're like, we would go to these conferences, marketing technology conferences, advertising conferences, and like, half the room would be using our tech, and it'd always be like, I'd get like a side eye, like, come over here. Like always, like, I didn't mind because we were making money a little bit, but it was just like, and when we decided to basically burn the boats, as they say, it'll be 3 years, come this September. So a little bit under 3 years at this moment in time. It's just been freeing. It's just been like one, it's just been one great party so far.
Well, that is fantastic that it's working out. I imagine there is some ruffled feathers, but sometimes in business, that's what you have to do. What's best for the client and best for your own company.
Yeah, there was. But I guess the reason why I hesitated there for 2 seconds is like, actually now they're all actually coming back. Said partners, said agencies who are like, look, we want to start telling people that we use DevHub, and we want that to be a value driver versus before where it was hidden. And again, like I always look at it like this is our, I don't know when you graduated high school, but there was a moment in time where if you had a Gateway or Dell computer at your house, like you were like really cool, right? Like not compact, not HP, not compact, not HP, like, or even wherever your PC came from. It was like Dell or Gateway, and like every commercial ended with like the Intel inside. Remember? It was like the Intel 2, the Intel 4. It's like, and my mom would be like, well, it's cheaper if we get an AMD chip And I'm like, no, it has to be Intel, and
All my friends are going to make fun of me.
right. I remember, like, again, like, it was the thing back then. I feel like that, again, fast forward though, like, having DevHub is that level of brand and strength that an agency should just be able to say, yeah, we built it on DevHub, and a franchise brand be like, oh, thank God. Okay, cool. We know it's the best. And that's where, like, again, like, that's what's exciting at this moment is like, do we get partners again who, one, know how to sell what they do really well and just sort of check the box knowing that the websites are powered by DevHub. So we'll see. I don't know. These next 2 quarters will be really interesting. All
Okay.
active
All right.
conversations. Are you going to go to IFA?
Yeah, for sure. You?
Right. So you'll see us there. I mean, it's really funny. I was sort of arguing with our marketing team, and again, I don't mean arguing, but more or less. Like, if you guys put the words digital marketing, if you put the words like live, laugh, love, if you put anything, let's grow, like, I'm like, literally, it's DevHub, franchise websites. That's it. If anyone leaves this conference, IFA 2026, and it's like, what does DevHub do? I will literally, like, doesn't know what we do. I will be like, oh, you'll never see me again. I can tell you that. You know,
Failure.
I'm sure.
The
I'd be like,
marketing team.
yeah. I'd be like, no, you're not gonna. I'm out. I'm out. I can't. I don't know how much more obvious you can be. It's literally DevHub franchise websites. That's it.
All right. All right.
So
So it's like everybody's website that you have will be powered by DevHub so that they
I
know
think
that
I'm again like
the infrastructure is really strong and it's
the last
logically laid out.
website you'll ever need.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, again, today the way someone buys a website is like someone basically sells them a redesign. They think they're choosing a technology, typically WordPress or something else. The problem is, like, that's a living, breathing thing. As part of that's where leads come. That's where a customer might want to do more research. That's what the chat or the LLMs are reading, right? Like, it's the most important thing at this moment in time for sure. And it can't just be like, okay, we just did our website. Now we're moving on to the next thing. It's like, okay, it's got to stay with what's happening. If you don't have pricing on the website, it's all the things, also all the things that we're innovating into the platform. So you don't even have to think about, yeah. Anyway, it's just a
Yeah.
really, yeah, I get nerd out on it, obviously.
I bet you can. I was even thinking
Yeah.
I have what you mentioned graduating from high school and worrying about your PC. I didn't have that luxury. I was a little bit before that time, but I'm wondering if you grew up in Seattle as well. That's where you're located right now, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah. So, I wonder if that's more of like Northern California, Seattle worry for kids in high school about which chip is powering their PC
I
than
guess
other
the
parts of the country.
the nerd ones for sure.
So along this journey from 2007, when you started this, I'm sure there's a cool garage story or something like that, or living room or something. But and then growing and actually attracting funding and being in that world and continuing to develop and stay on top of all the technological things that are going on as well. How have you kept up with that as a founder and leader? Is this just this whole world is just part of your DNA and you're in it all the time, or no?
No,
Okay, tell me
no,
more.
again, I'm one half of the brain trust here. Again, not including our executives, not including, all the individuals that work at DevHub, but purely like my co-founder and I have been business partners that long as well. I mean, we've been business partners since we were 17 years old. I always tell people he lets me be CEO. He's the smart one. He's the technologist. He's never been, I would say, comfortable in the current state of the state. Everything is always evolving. The product
Okay,
is thousands and thousands and thousands of updates over these almost 2 decades. Like, LLM, AI, like, we were so built for this moment because we never let anything lapse in terms of whether it's just keeping our eye on it to see if it evolves into the thing or baking it into the actual technology of DevHub. Like, he's the one that did all of that. I feel like I have the luckiest job in the world because I just get to go out here and just talk shit and like just be like loud and draw attention with a mask of these glasses and mustache and just like who's that? What is it that they do? Like I saw that guy and did a video. It's like, da, da, da. I always just like I'm all about like how do we get the attention? I'm always rocking DevHub. Like whatever gets the attention that might convert to that again customer one day. It's like I just feel like I tell the team every Monday, basically, it's the honor of a lifetime for me to be able to represent their actual hard work.
Okay.
I wear the stress of everything, which is kind of goes unseen. But no, I've been very fortunate that again, it's my co-founder that's actually kept up with
Okay.
all of it from ADA to all the Google updates before we were even talking about AI. It was Google's hundreds of updates a year, big ones, and just like, yeah, he kept it all in line.
Wow, that's an interesting dynamic. You see that you're obviously very fortunate, as is he, because it really helps that one person isn't trying to have to wear all those hats because it would be mentally impossible, right?
Yeah.
Personality wise too, I'm sure.
Yeah, again, he's very funny. Like you said, we've worked together for so long. We still work together. Everyone always tells me this though. They're always like, "Oh, Mark, it seems like you're the one that likes to like, party, and you're like the social." It's not me. It's actually him, right? Like I can be in bed by like 8 p.m. Like at a conference or I'm out. I hear stories the next day. They're like, we were with Daniel till like 3, 4 in the morning. I'm like, "What?" Again, I'm always like, "Huh, that's what he does." Like, it's always the quiet one. That's what everyone always says because everyone says he's quiet. To me, he's always yelling at me, so I don't know that he's quiet. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, everyone
Well,
like, it's the quiet ones that love the party. I'm like,
yeah, they come out after midnight when they go to
"Yeah,
the after party, right?
yeah, exactly."
Tell me what in working with some smaller emerging brands, I at some point I would like to know like when does DevHub make sense for a smaller emerging brand that's bootstrapped and doesn't have OPM, other people's money that they're spending, quite yet. But just in terms of franchising, because it's definitely a sector for you guys that you focus on, what makes the tech in franchising so different than, a company that owns a bunch of corporate stores?
So, emerging brands and what I call mid-market brands, they're it's so messed up because You know, we used to say right around 20 locations or websites is where like you do need a little bit more of an infrastructure. I think we just launched one this week. You can go look it up. I think it's called Zynga Home. By the time this episode airs, I don't know how many locations they have. I don't think it's 20. I think it might be 8 to 12. I could be totally misquoting that, but I'm like pretty sure it's something pretty small. And ultimately, I don't think it matters, like, how big the org is, it's 100% who's on their team.
Mm,
Because if the team understands, like, how they're gonna actually blow this thing out, whether they have 2 or they had 200 or 2,000, like, look, there's a bunch of franchise brands out there that are in that 150 to 200 range where it's like, the founder's still making every single decision. It's like, they have all these other people with titles, and those titles have no authority to make any decision. It's just like nonsense versus like, again, I'll say like Zynga is home. It felt like there was like a really good organization, smaller, emerging, definitely, but like the right people that know their jobs, that can make the decisions, the leadership or owner, whatever you want to call it, lets their execs so it's like, I don't know.
nice.
I always tell our salespeople, and it's been very hard for us to even um, I guess, get salespeople to understand this. It's like each one is unique. And I'm saying it's unique based on like who's working there, right? And so, again, if it's a first time, let's say, founder of a franchise versus the second time they've done it, like they've seen enough that they know enough, even though it might be small today, we know they can build it big again. Um, but on our end, what we've tried to do is like the smaller emerging or mid market we just try to make it so they can just say yes more
Yeah.
easily, with knowing that once they're on DevHub, they'll figure it out. Um, and so that comes with like cheaper, not cheaper. I would say like more pricing options so that it's not so front loaded, right? So like, a typical website for us is maybe call it on the very, very low end 50K to like the higher end is like could be up to 200 plus K, and that's just for the one-time build. And there's the monthly hosting of every single site, blah, 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 which is a whole nother thing where people are like, why am I paying for, it's like, well, each one's an individual site. Anyway, but again, making all the payment terms insanely flexible for emerging, like, yo, we'll grow with you. Let's go. But you better
Yeah.
grow. But you better grow. And so anyway, they get it.
Mhm.
And so far it's been good, but it was a little bit of a learning curve for us because, like again, like in home services, in wellness, in anything where the product that they're selling is at least I want to say $50 to $100 again, if not more, is
Mhm.
where the website's even. I mean, to me, like it pays for itself within like not even a year. So who cares
Right.
if it's 100K? But again, that's been like a little bit of a sales job to do for some of the emerging mid market brands. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. When we're dealing with smaller budgets, I love to hear that you're offering options for people to come in
hundred
on a
percent.
on a program like you have, because if any, and it was interesting what you said about if someone's been through it before, if this is their second time, guaranteed if it's their second time, they are spending more money up front on the technology that they want when they have 300 units. Because if anybody's been through a tech, conversion or transfer of
Right,
data and all that, they're like, never again, please.
right,
I'll spend the money up front. So I love to hear that you're supporting emerging brands
hundred
and
percent.
making it possible.
Like I said, it was challenging because we just didn't get it a little bit, like what the hesitation was. But it was. I mean, honestly, it was price. I mean, and
Yeah.
some of it, so again, I was saying, how do you work with them on that? But then obviously still explaining the whole value props of why this is, you have to think about this for the next, go, grow. I mean, we've done everything from mattress firms to Saks to Nike. I mean, like just outside of franchise, like the same thing that you're running 7 and you think you want to grow to, whether it's 100 or 50 or 300 like you're on the same platform, like roll, go.
Yeah. Yeah. And
What
don't
Nike
don't
it's like, "What
d
Nike?" It's like, "Go, just go." And so
and what I found in growing our own system was, we had a website, we started on it, any kind of system, whether it's CRM or, franchise management, and then we would get to a certain point, and even though we weren't gigantic or anything, it's like, you can't do any more on this system. You have to go to a different system. And then it becomes even more complex because that system has to talk to 3 other systems, and not only does that system work, but does it integrate with your other systems that you have? So starting right from the start makes a heck of a lot of sense. And one of the things that I share with people thinking about franchising their concept is it's a different level of expenses that you're going to have because you're buying tech and tools that are scalable, so they're more expensive and the checks you write are bigger up front, and that's why you need a certain amount of money to get going in franchising. And some of the best tools, frankly, have been out of the price range of emerging brands. Like, you can't do it. Like, for instance, maybe if I misquote on this, like Buxton, mapping software. It's like it's a very robust mapping software. If you started on Buxton, you're probably never going to have to get off of Buxton. I'm not affiliated with them, but not a lot of emerging brands can afford $30,000 a month for their mapping software for their 4
right.
units, this year. Just as an example, what do you think with AI and all that kind of stuff? I'm sure you could go down a rabbit hole and you know more than 99.9% of people on the planet about it. But like, just in general, what do you think's next for local digital marketing?
Look, I'm always wrong for the record. So, like, again, like, I'm the guy that thought, like, COVID was just, like, a snowstorm, we're gonna be back to work on Monday, and then, like, the next month, another 3 months. So, like, my co-founder is the better one, but I have been liking playing this prediction game. Um, so I think it's sort of twofold, all encompassing related to obviously the website, which will make sense in 2 seconds. So one, you know, I keep saying like every 3 months, I keep going, oh, I keep like, like these aha moments, like every 3 months with what is happening with, again, capabilities of, call it AI, and AI as we know it today, sidebar, I still think Alexa should have been number 1, and it's just so dumb nowadays. It's like I can't even barely use it, but whatever. Anyway, so real quick,
Okay.
let's just talk about, like, so I'll just say it just to be clear, like, to me, as we talk about AI today, we're talking about the large language models, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok,
Right.
those, right? So like those. For me, I'm saying it's ChatGPT. So I think the fundamental shift in how the consumer is using it has changed multiple times in 2025 and now even more 2026. That fundamental change is making it more and more as a person in their life, even though it's hard for people to admit it. It's making it more of like there's this other person in their life, call it chat. Some people have named it, which they're a little
Hmm.
bit further along already. But again, your health records, your financial records, I mean, all the things that you talk to if it's your therapist, all the way, all your business ideas, all the things that are now stored, let's say again, for me, ChatGPT. So much so that if I ask Chat, hey, you know, we had that leak again in our house, or, I want to go work out, or, whatever, tell me where I'm supposed to go. And I think what's happening is like at some level that AI, those models are getting more and more smart to me as Mark. And then
Hmm.
we'll go be like, oh, Mark's not going to Mark doesn't like to run. So, maybe I'll find him their cycling class. And then it's like, Mark, hey, I found this cycling class. It's only $19 for your first time. I can probably get you like it's more of that. And then it's taking the action on my behalf. And I'm
Hmm.
just showing up to the place being, yo, chat booked me. Or, I think it's going to be more of a guiding force. That information will all live on the website, and it's not doing a Google search. It's looking through weirdly directories, maybe some other things I've talked to before, but the biggest source of truth will be the website for everything for at least the foreseeable 5 years, next 5 years, and that our interaction with AI will become more human, for again lack of a better word, and more trusting of it to take the actions on our behalf, but in order to take those actions, those websites have to have the ability to complete those actions, but then also the information to be presented in a way that, again, that chat will be able to read it and then again, obviously take the action on it. Again,
Right.
the fundamental thing is it's not anything that's happening with AI. I will say it's just that as a consumer, our interaction with AI is more, I think, becoming more trusting with more and more personal information, and it's becoming more and more of like a presence. I mean, just two quick more anecdotes. One, it's funny. So I go between Seattle and New York City, and in New York, I started going to comedy clubs, which I never really had gone to really before, just for whatever it's worth. And it's like a couple of comics in the last 2025 would bring up Chat GPT as like, I was talking to Chat about that, and the audience just immediately just starts laughing. And I think it's like a recognition that we're all doing that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And then again, just even more recently, just I had some friends over yesterday. It's like, well, Chad says that this is the better restaurant, right? And it's like we're getting more comfortable admitting it. I think before it's like there was like a weird, like you didn't want to say, I don't know. It's just been interesting in that way where it's like I think we're just talking about it. And now, and I'm actually in Arizona right this minute. I mean, we're
Okay.
taking Waymo everywhere. It's here to stay.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And
Yeah, it's not a fad. That's for sure.
no, no. I've a customized one that actually speaks to me in a tone that I relate to as well. And I journal in it, and so it knows everything I'm thinking.
Right.
And it knows what my goals are. And then, just one of my challenges, like I start out super strong, and then sometimes if I have a win, I take my foot off the gas for a little bit. And it knows that. So it's just on me after every win. It's like, keep going, so
Yeah.
it's really customized, and I really enjoy it. And if you have no illusions of privacy, anyway
I mean,
anymore since we've been walking around with phones in our pockets for 20 years.
I know, I never bought into that. Oh, my information. Yeah, right. Like,
Yeah.
get out of here. It's like, no, everyone gave that up 5 years ago.
Yeah. This is a quick break to thank you for listening. Every week, we are getting more and more people listening to the show, and this growth is helping me to improve it and make it even more helpful to you. My intention for this show is to help more people win in business and life. To that end, I have a favor to ask. If you know of an entrepreneur that would benefit, please hit the share button and shoot them a text with the link. Back to the show. Make this a great day. Besides that, because you are a tech, sounds like you grew up in the tech world and you're on top of it, and you're talking to your partner who's even further down the path than you. Is there any like just fun, small piece of tech that you found is particularly enriching to your life? Like gadget or a service or an app or anything like that, whether for your business life, or I know you also have many creative endeavors, filmmaking and painting and fine art is another one of your hobbies. Anything like that?
I'm looking around. I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like still the guy that like writes everything in moleskins every day, like my whole schedule every single day, like pen, paper. I still have like a little Zippo. This is my little fidget spinner right here.
Okay.
I still have my
That's a dangerous fidget spinner, by the way.
yeah, and like business cards still, like I still write notes on like all index cards too. For me, it's very weird. Nothing gadget wise. I'm curious about like, the brick stuff, right? Where you like can like shut off your phone and limit your time on the phone. The thing is like, I love my phone. Like I'm not even scared to admit it. I sleep with it. I mean, again, I just think it's a miracle. I can run the whole company. Any ideas I have, anything I want to do is right here. I haven't played with glasses yet. You know,
Okay.
I haven't done that yet because I need prescription. So it's like, I don't know if I would have to convert it. And so, no, I would say the one thing that I've been loving, and it's not anything new to anybody, but I'm surprised that a lot of people don't do it, is I just love YouTube. I think
Yeah.
YouTube is so great. Like, there's so many just great rabbit holes on there, from like interior design to like fishing to, you know, urban exploration of just like some weird village in Africa. I just think YouTube is great for like a little bit longer form and not just the dopamine hits of TikTok and Instagram. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I really love that. But again, I'm also the guy that like whatever I don't see that maybe doesn't exist, I will try to create it. And so I haven't found anything in the hardware realm of that.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
you,
Well, I love to hear that a technologist like you is still writing in moleskin and with pen and paper and things like that. I do the same thing, and I thought it was just because I was old, but I do enjoy it,
I think
like
it's like,
cursive.
I think I'm like Leonardo da Vinci. What are you talking about? I have them all, I'm like, one day they're going to sell for $23 million. Just this one right here.
There you go.
Just the fact that I was on your podcast. Oh,
Probably. Yeah.
that was the one that he held up on. Oh, this one's going to sell for at least 23. I mean, that's how insane I think. Like,
Yeah. It's a
so
10x multiplier for
100%.
sure.
That, this is the provenance of this existing because it showed up on this podcast right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Started doing personal business cards, and again,
Right.
nothing. I didn't put my phone number on it because again, I'm on social enough, right? I think like
Yeah.
again, some of the analog stuff I still really like.
Well, yeah. And going back to the AI, just to touch base on it for a minute, like you get an analog card with like something you can feel with paint on it or something like that, it's real.
I think it's like, I mean, my other weird, not even a prediction. I'm definitely not the first to say this at all, which is again, like what you're doing and what I do, even on social outside of this, is like, this will be more valuable. But then potentially as you activate a different key avatar AI, knowing that it was still spawned by something within your brain. And because you are socially, active out there, I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I still think that you'll be able to build your own network, right? This is the franchise one, but maybe you have one that's all about fitness or whatever, or French
Hmm.
stuff. I don't know. And it's
Yeah.
okay because at least there's a human you as like that pseudo puppet master to build out like a real network of yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
I don't.
It's replicating an authentic self rather than
Right,
creating.
but the fact that the authentic self of you exists and it's
Yeah.
public like this is
Yeah.
what's gonna help those other ones do better, because at least there's that, I don't know, I just think there's like this weird verification, like it wasn't just somebody in some dark basement. It's like, oh no, this is the guy behind all of this. I know these things took on a life of their own, but it was still, this is the guy, you know?
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
OG channel right here, you know, like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
One last question before we land the plane here, Mark, and just a fun question. When you guys are coming up with big decisions like you did 3, 4 years ago to not be doing those deals in the back alley at expos and things like that, um, are you guys doing that over cocktails or are you doing that over coffee?
It used to be always coffee every single morning, behind our office building in downtown Seattle in the alleyway. We just like
Yeah.
go out there, before we go upstairs, and everyone used to be in the office, obviously. And before we would see everybody, we would go grab coffee. It was like, I mean, we did coffee. It was always coffee,
Yeah.
always coffee.
Seattle. Seattle, it kind of makes sense too,
Yeah,
right?
or I mean, even in college, I mean, we always did it over coffee. But I always say two founders are better than three, because to make sometimes those decisions, ultimately, whether we mutually agreed on the same thing, or one of us has a stronger opinion than the other, it's, the intent is obviously growth, right? It's like, it's for the
Mhm.
betterment of an after work. So I always tell people, like, we actually micro fight about, like, in my opinion, 1,000 times a day, right? Again, micro fights, like the way he'll look at me to like, shut up or whatever. But ultimately, two is better than three in making sometimes those decisions. Because even if I'm wrong and I still tried it and he told me not to, it's like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, if I'm right and he told me not to, I definitely let him have it. Like I knew it,
Told you so.
told you so. I think, but also good. Like at least we know something. Just make those decisions.
Yeah.
Like make those decisions. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting on that. I was interviewing Dave Mortensen, who's the co-founder of Anytime Fitness, and I asked him, he has a co-founder, Chuck Runyon, and I asked him, like, when's the last time you guys like butted heads? And he's like, earlier today. They've been partners since 2020, 2002. He's like, yeah, every day. And at some point, you just got to be like, cool, let's go with your decision. And then they have the same dynamic. If it's right, the other guy's going to be like, I told you, dumbass. And then if they're wrong, you're like, I told you. So I think that's great. That the challenge would be, like a lot of the emerging brands that I work with have one founder. And that becomes a challenge because sometimes you just have to have these conversations out loud to see if it makes sense when you get it out of your head and get some feedback. And these founders are working with people that are working for them. So you might have people that are just agreeing with them all the time. Or if it's something that's scary in terms of finances, they don't want to share that. So, they're surrounded by people, but they can't really share everything that they have on their minds. You know what I mean?
Now they have Chat GPT, though, right?
Ah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
There
but
you
I
go.
mean, it is. I mean, again, I always try to think. I'm 43 now. We started this thing. We were roughly in our early 20s, and I always try to think like, what could I have told myself, sooner? Again, it was, it was all the cliche stuff that everyone hears. But again, like it's hard. I sympathize with a lot of emerging, people, because I felt like we were emerging for 16 years. I mean, I was worried about payroll every 2 weeks, like every 2 weeks. So when someone comes up with their genius advice of like, hire a really smart person, it's like, I hear you, but like, I'm literally trying to make payroll again in 2 weeks, like,
Right.
and like, you're just in that cycle. And it's like, I just keep trying to, what could I have told myself to that person who's just every 2 weeks payroll cycle, just like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Or even if they have 4 weeks of payroll in the bank, or sorry, four payroll cycles in the bank, it's still just, you're just like, but if you hire wrong, that money's going to be gone a lot quicker, da, 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 da. I mean, I just feel like you just have to shoot those shots. You
Yeah.
have to, like, just go, try your best because again, the one good person you bring on will save you a lot of time. And then obviously the ones that are not good, you just got to get good at letting them go earlier. I mean, it just sucks. It's like it's the part of capitalism that I thought that was the hardest lesson I've probably learned in the last 14 months, 2 years, especially as we started to do better is, I always thought DevHub can be the place where anyone can work. I always used to say like, none of us would have been friends in high school, but at DevHub we can be, AK, because it's like a lot of misfits and like we just hire anybody at earlier on because we couldn't afford a lot of people. Unfortunately, that got us in a lot of different trouble in theory. We were scared sometimes to pay for certain people, just didn't believe people needed that type of salary, the ones that had some experience. But, we got to a place where it's not a family, it's a sport and you're choosing DevHub because like you want to win and you want to compete for yourself, for your whatever your interests are outside of DevHub. And, it's like if you're not, if you're running your play, whatever department you're in, whatever your role is, and you can't do that, you're out. And it's just like we've got to that place now at DevHub where it's not just like, oh, it's okay, you can do it. No, no,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
here. But again, that was like I don't know. I think I led with a lot of a certain humanity that was very forgiving because I thought I never felt special in the sense that if I can do it, anyone can do it. Come on, this isn't that hard. Like, let's go. Like, stop talking about it, be about it. All those things
Sure.
where now it's just purely like we want the best. And if I can tell the person who's chasing payroll, it's like, and you're the one single founder or whatever, it's like find the next person. Find the
Yeah.
next person, hire that executive then if that's what you need, and it's
Yeah.
scary and it costs money, but when you got it right, you'll know. You'll know.
Yeah.
There's always this tell. I honestly think you can tell even with a new employee within a month if they were the right person or I genuinely, you can tell by the way they communicate. I mean, you just know, are they really in it? Better,
Yeah.
let me tell you this, fine, if you can't figure it out in a week or sorry, in a month, you'll figure it out in 3 months. You
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
so and at 6
Yeah.
months, and don't let it go past 6. We always say, the second you can throw up a couple pink flags, you better get it before it turns red, like
Okay.
and so, yeah.
Yeah. That's great advice. So many of the people that we're working with, they're either dealing with somebody, like a founder that's not pulling their weight or just people that aren't executing. And then we'll make that recommendation because it's usually single founders and be like, yes, go ahead, let that person go, put some ads out there, do what you need to do, recruit, get them out. And then, at least half the time they're like, I'm so glad I didn't realize how much that was slowing me down or on my mind or keeping me awake at night. Right.
Not one person. Unless it's like, again, I will say, the only caveat to this whole thing is, like, again, if it's a layoff because of the performance of the business, that's different. But and as an individual who you are actually just letting go, not because of the state of the business, but just because of pink flags about that individual, your shoulders just relax. You're just like, oh, that was a weight, and mental weight. I'm not even talking about like, forget the slowing down of the actual business. It's like, what a mental weight. It's 100% of the time, it's relief.
Good to know. Good to know. That's 18 years of experience talking right there,
Oh,
having
we've been
done
up
it a bunch of times.
we went through, look, I've learned everything I've learned has been at DevHub. I've never worked for anybody in my life. I've learned it all the extremely hard way, which is called trial and error. And if I can save anyone time, that's what I'm for when it comes to this topic of entrepreneurship and whatnot. Because it's like, man, I was the biggest idiot, not you. Don't worry about it. I made those mistakes, so you don't have to. Like,
Nice. Well,
go.
thanks for sharing that and helping people out. I know we're a little bit over on time. If you don't mind, I just
I'm
wanted
good. I'm
to,
good.
okay. I really wanted to touch base on your non-business creative pursuits. And the reason that I'm asking is selfish because when I was trying to grow our business and growing our business, I was just in it and having a good time. Loved the people I worked with, most of them. And when we sold the business, and I had some time on my hands, I realized that I had kept up with physical fitness, but I had done nothing else creatively at all. And so I started playing really, really bad guitar, which I still do. And I was like, I should have been doing this
But do you perform
while
live?
I was growing the business.
Do you perform live?
No, oh my gosh. I, no, not yet. I'm
Yeah, let me
I'm
tell you
not
right
very
now.
good.
Let me tell you. But guess what? You're good looking.
Thanks.
You know what I mean?
It's
Like
all
you need
filters.
no, you need to perform live. I mean, look. So as we sort of started, I don't know if it was recording at that moment. I believe the real meaning of Groundhog's Day, like the actual movie, is really just like every day you have a choice of what you get to do.
Mm,
Period, and as close as you can get to doing everything that you want to do in that day, right? Telling the people you love that you love them, to the creative things, to your business things that you got. The best I've ever gotten is like 80%, right? I could probably say, like again, I would love to fly private just to go do something stupid on the day and still come back and do that whole thing. But anyway, um, so again, I don't watch sports. I don't have a lot of bro friends. I just believe in all it's like what kind of entertainment or creative outlet would I want to see in the world? And again, like if I was playing guitar and I was you and you're wearing black and you look cool, but I would look, I'll show the camera. Let me see. Let me see. Look, what is that?
o
That's the logo of my
okay.
band that I don't even have.
Right.
I have
Okay.
merch. I have merch. I have a website. I have the logo of a tattoo of like I'm already selling out Madison Square Garden.
Okay. All
I mean,
right.
all of it. I'm launching a talk show sometime in the next 2 weeks. I've already filmed 2 episodes. I'm going to film a third one next week.
Nice.
I paint. I play piano. And again, I just always think like one, it's as much as it is for me, it's for people. It's fun. It's like, look, if you can take this idiot to go do that thing, like why? And again, you're good looking. It's like you play guitar. Like go perform. Go perform. You know why? Because there's so many people that would have so much talent that do nothing with it. And again, there's a line from I think it's a Bronx Tale where he says to talent. And
Yeah.
again, the fact that you're willing to even strum on a guitar is talent. It's like, and again, I'll tell you how I got into a lot of those art, fine art painting stuff, piano, this talk show idea, podcast, all the creative pursuits that I take on is it just serves as like a really weird, I'm going to say the wrong word here, but distraction from the business
Yeah.
in a way that it's like one of those things that, they say like when you're always looking at the money or you're always looking down, like you don't make it because you don't look up. It's like in
Mhm.
some ways I look at it like it's my version of looking up without, with like the weird hope that like, oh, I'm going to sell at Madison Square Garden because I'm the greatest piano player. I'm actually not. I'm literally the worst piano player on the planet. I can guarantee it. I can't count. I don't have rhythm. I know that, but I still believe I can sell out Madison Square Garden. Let me daydream about that to pass those 20 minutes of practice, 30 minutes of practice, an hour, to not let me be constantly thinking about DevHub, which is what I actually do 98% of my time. And it
Right.
and then by fluke, that 1, 2, 3 hour daydream or piano session or hosting that talk show, like in that time, maybe we got that email back that got us that huge deal that we've been waiting for. Are they going to sign, or that problem that's happening at the company that like I can't exert any more energy. Like it's kind of one of those things that just probably just needs time. We've already talked about it. We can't just keep beating it to death. So then let me go, and it just like it's helped move time in a way that like here's what I tell our people: you should moonlight, you should have hobbies, you should have all the things. As long as it doesn't affect your job, go for it.
Yeah.
And like I just think
Yeah.
it helps because it's like, because otherwise it's like, okay, let's say what if DevHub never sells? Now what if DevHub, I mean, all the things that someone might say about their own stuff. Oh, how about if I lose my job? And da, da, da. At least like if you inch that thing along, guitar, piano, fine art, talk show, podcast, whatever the hell your creative pursuit is, like you're already that much more ahead than if you would have never done it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know, I think about all of that all the time. But again, it's like, it's very interesting. The more I learn about people and myself, how many people do not even start one, two, have a hidden talent, but just don't expose it, or someone who starts like you, but don't take it to the next level. Like you're already at the next level. Like you just
Right.
not, you got to go perform now. And
Okay.
I will say performing live, and as I was saying about the talk show yesterday, is like my heart rate was like 117, 120 just beating, and then as soon as it was over, like you kind of come down from
Yeah.
it. When you perform live your first time, you're gonna, even in front of 12 people, I get the rock star thing, I get the actor thing, I get any of those things
Yeah.
where, unlike business, sometimes you're in the background a lot, even though you're the boss, you're like still really in the background. Like no one knows
Totally.
what you do. But when you put yourself
Totally.
out there playing a musical instrument, hosting a show, all the things with a live studio audience, I mean, the whole thing, I mean, that high it's very
Yeah.
addictive. It's very
Yeah.
addictive. And
Yeah.
so
The whole creative, when I was researching you, I just saw you like your shows, your art shows, and how long you've been doing a podcast and all this. And the thing that got me was thinking about it was like he's doing, and it actually became even more clear because there's this, where you are now is a lot different than where you were 5 years ago, right? I
100%,
mean,
yeah.
with the company size and financial and accomplishments. And because people see where you are now, they're like, oh, he probably always had this, this extra time on his hands where he can just go do these little projects and things like that. And what you shared earlier is like, no, we were still worrying about payroll every 2 weeks, and yet you were still doing this. And
100%.
it's not just like, as you said, it's not just a distraction. It's like kind of shower thoughts. Like when you get your good ideas in the shower and you can't write them down or anything, it's like you have to step away, even in the midst of things when you're super busy, to actually be more effective when you get back to it.
100%. Like even those, let's just call them the broke years.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
while it was never anything, some things were not like in the creative realm. It was like taking the first step in registering the domain name on the other idea I had, in case the thing that we were working on didn't work out, in case we couldn't make that payroll, right? Like, and it was just like a lot. Like, unfortunately, I still pay for those 100+ domain names now, every year.
GoDaddy's where it's at because of all your
GoDaddy
domain name
GoDaddy
purchases.
gets like whatever that is, like 100 times $10 a month or whatever a year, I forget. They get it every year, and I go through the list every year, and I'm like, I still might do that one day, you know. But
Okay.
again, like
All right.
in creating that alongside not making that payroll, or not, it just like, well, in case there's this, again, it gives you a little bit of that extra hope. I don't know, like it just,
Yeah.
it's the right distraction. It's not, distraction doesn't have to be the
Yeah.
negative word here. You know what I mean? Like it's,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the alternative is going to the corner bar and getting
when can we
hammered.
come?
That's
When
also a
can we?
distraction.
Right. Yeah,
What
that's true.
Thank you so much for being on. It's been uh, a really interesting conversation on multiple fronts. And thanks for sharing your journey candidly and honestly, because I think when people get to the place you're at, everybody thinks it was probably easy in the beginning. And particularly how long it took you to get to where you are, it makes the story that much better and gives more people inspiration. So I really appreciate you being on the show. Thanks.
Yeah, we make a very concerted effort to like document everything, not just writing it in a journal. But if you go to devhub.com/history, that whole history exists there. So
Oh, okay. One
yeah,
might
because I
point people
never want,
towards that.
yeah, I just never want anyone to be like, oh, they just built a tech company. It's like, yeah, right, yeah,
Yeah,
right,
yeah. And then all the millions came flowing
yeah,
in, and
yeah,
he had all this
Definitely.
time on his hands, so he took up piano. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Right.
funny.
This has been fantastic. I love these conversations, and I really appreciate you taking the time and getting to know you a bit. That wraps up today's episode of the Franchise Scale Up Show. If this gave you a strategy you can put into play, please share it with one founder who needs the help. You might save them months of pain. If you're ready to go deeper, whether it's building your support infrastructure, accelerating territory sales, or preparing for private equity, go to guycoffey.com. That's GUYCOFFEY, and book a free franchise growth strategy call. I only partner with founders who are committed to scaling without losing control. If that's you, I'd love to connect. Until next time, protect your vision, move fast, and scale smart. I'm Guy Coffey. Talk soon.